A well-worn horror trope is the seemingly dead villain briefly returning to life for one final, spiteful act of vengeance before he is finally destroyed forever so that peace can reign once more, until he comes back in a sequel. Sometimes this return takes the form of a brief heroic struggle, as in Terminator. Sometimes it is an epic battle, as in the final confrontation with Ganon in Ocarina of Time. Sometimes it is a brief jump scare, as in Scream. In August 2024, Sony released a video game named Concord, a hero shooter Overwatch clone. It was quickly agreed upon by all onlookers that Concord had the worst character designs in AAA video game history. The game was a cataclysmic flop. Its all-time concurrent player peak on Steam was 697. Sony scrubbed Concord from their servers only 12 days after the game's release and refunded all purchases. Concord was dead.
It's alright. It's okay. You're safe now.
Justin, Koopa.
They're fine. They're fine. They're with us.
Or so it seemed. But the last embers of life still burned within the monster, and with its last breath, Concord would wreak one final, gruesome vengeance upon the world. In December 2024, an anthology series based on video game IPs called Secret Level debuted on Amazon Prime. The first season contains 15 episodes, each episode depicting a scenario that takes place within the world of the featured video game. The series included episodes from Pac-Man, Sifu, Mega Man, Warhammer 40k, and Concord, among other IPs. Secret Level received universally mediocre ratings from the few viewers who bothered to rate it. The show has a 73% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes and a 6.5 on Metacritic, with lower scores from critics. Sony had big plans for Concord. They spent at least $400 million developing the game. Internally, they were asserting that Concord would be the next Star Wars, that it was, quote, the future of PlayStation. So in a bid to get into immediate franchise expansion, Sony teamed up with Amazon Studios to create Concord: Tale of the Implacable.
I swear if we did all this for nothing, I'll space you.
You are gonna space me.
Tale of the Unwatchable opens with a narrator describing the dangers of space travel. The narration plays over a montage of potential violent disasters that could befall a pilot, accompanied by light-hearted, catchy music.
Rogue radiation. Tiny pieces of space debris.
Violent on-screen action juxtaposed with retro pop music. Now, where have I seen this before? We're not even a minute in, and this thing is a decade out of date. Concord is imitating a movie that was released in 2014. The narrator's info dump next informs us that the Concord writers couldn't be bothered doing their own world building, so they just ripped off Dune.
The Guild owned the maps, so the Guild owned the routes. So if you wanted to travel in space, the Guild owned you.
The Concord writers were so fucking lazy that the maximum effort they were willing to put into Concord's world build was changing the name of the Spacing Guild from Dune to The Guild and integrate it into their story, which they made a bollocks of. Concord is so bad they couldn't even plagiarize properly. Dune's Spacing Guild monopoly on interstellar travel makes sense. Concord's The Guild monopoly on interstellar travel does not make sense. How could the Guild possibly have a monopoly on interstellar maps? Star maps would have been drawn up over centuries by many generations of explorers and cartographers. The idea that one organization could amass all of that information and keep it secret is absurd. Even if the Guild did somehow possess knowledge of interstellar travel maps, other powers in the galaxy would start exploring to break this monopoly. This would not be difficult. Send 100 cheap probes to a planet you want to get to. Whichever drones make it there without taking any damage travelled along a safe route. Bring the probes back home to confirm the safety of the routes, and there you go. You've just discovered several safe interstellar travel routes without paying the guild a cent. It wouldn't even take geopolitical powers to do this. A single powerful corporation could carry out such exploration. Using this method, safe routes could be mapped throughout the galaxy in a few months, assuming faster than light travel is possible within this story world. The entire premise of Tale of the Unwatchable is completely broken. As the narration finishes, we pan through generic sci-fi city and zoom in on a wanted poster of the story's hero, a character we will soon come to love and cherish. Then we cut to our hero being gurneyed into a surgery by Drax 0.5 and his goons. She has a chip embedded in her arm and Drax 0.5 wants it removed. But little does he know that our hero's crew, the protectors of the cosmos, have infiltrated the building and they have a plan.
I don't even believe you have a plan. I have part of a plan.
Trust me, we're professionals. We'll stick to the plan. We can do this. That was not the plan.
Technically, it was a plan. It just wasn't the same plan that we started with.
3 years and this is the plan!
Before I continue with the plot of Tale of the Unwatchable, I must address character design because it is Concord's most obvious and distracting problem. Talking about this episode without addressing the character designs would be like JFK showing up to a college graduation and giving a commencement speech without explaining how his head was reunited with his brains. In keeping with the Concord aesthetic, the character designs throughout Tale of the Unwatchable are heinous. We have seen bad character designs in the past, like Emilia Clarke in Secret Invasion as the world champion of southpaw wanking.
You jerk off?
Yeah. Yeah, I jerk off, yeah.
How many times a week?
Like, three or four times, maybe.
I gotta pump those numbers up. Those are rookie numbers in this racket. I myself, I jerk off at least twice a day.
My personal pick for worst character design of 2024 in movies was Bill Skarsgård in The Crow 2024, performing as Purgatory's naughtiest rent boy.
Do you suck dicks?
I do.
But the Concord character designs reached a new level of hell. In a cultural landscape in which consumers are used to visually offensive trash from major studios, there was genuine shock at how horrifyingly awful the character designs for Concord were. It was also quite obvious that the designs were heavily influenced, indeed dictated, by the extreme left-wing political fanaticism of the activist lead developers. The Concord characters were amorphous, anti-male gaze, feminist, androgynous, and extremely body positive. By far the most visually disgusting character in Tale of the Unwatchable is our hero, the lead character. This character is a woke fever dream. She is a strong, powerful, aggressive, masculine black female leader who is also body positive because she doesn't shave her armpit hair, a hygiene choice the showrunners make damn sure we are made aware of several times. Fever Dream also wears blue lipstick because she doesn't conform to patriarchal beauty standards, and because the Concord developers who designed this character understood that blue lipstick is a signal from the feminist mind virus that it has successfully taken control of another host body. Blue lipstick is favoured by feminism because it is repulsive. It repulses male onlookers, so is therefore considered anti-male gaze, which is good. As a demonstration of just how ugly blue lipstick is, here are a few photos of hot girls with blue lipstick alongside the same image altered to show her with red lipstick. I find the blue lips to be deeply off-putting and vaguely zombie-like. While researching this video, I became intrigued by the question of why blue lips are so disgusting to look at, and I came up with two reasons. One, blue is the opposite of red in the colour spectrum. Red lips indicate reproductive fecundity and ovulation, and so are sexually enticing to men. Blue is as far from red as possible, Thus, blue lips signal sterility. The second reason is that blue lips indicate death. Corpses often have blue lips, and humans are biologically programmed to be repulsed by corpses to safeguard our own health, so we have a natural aversion to blue lips. The Concord team also chose blue lips for the design of another character, Custodes Diabetes. Notice that the blue lips do not match with any other part of the character. The blue lips were imposed on the design of Custodes Diabetes solely for uglification. One of Fever Dream's crew members is Halle Bailey, a rainbow-coloured squid creature. Halle Bailey's character design is an absolute horror show. Her eyes are completely black with no pupils and so lack emotional resonance. Solid-coloured eyes can work great in character design for villains or monsters, for example the aliens in Independence Day, but Halle Bailey is depicted as friendly and sociable. The solid black eyes clash with her personality, creating a harsh visual dissonance. The tentacles around her head add an element of asymmetrical ugliness and suggest an insectoid viscous texture that clashes with the amphibian face. There's a hideous V-shaped crease above her nose that once you notice you can't unnotice. She's wearing a retro-futurist spacesuit complete with intestinal visual motifs on her shoulder pads and inner arms. This intestinal visual theme is a favourite of the Concord character designers. More on that in a bit. On top of her intestinal chic retro-futurist spacesuit, Halle Bailey wears construction overalls, creating a garish tricolour clash of dirty yellow and grey on dark purple. And to round it all off, she wears a breathing mask around her neck, complete with intestinal design motifs. You can see the intestinal theme across the entire Concord character roster. It's most prominent on this character, Hazmat Lady. Hazmat Lady's chest plate looks like a 3D model of human intestines. Prominent intestinal features are also present on her shoulder pads, left arm, and backpack. Intestinal design is also extremely prominent on Custodes Diabetes, particularly her arms, torso, and midsection, though her obesity makes these features look more like bulges designed to hold her rolls of fat, rather than organic sacks filled with human shit, though the feature is evocative of both. Custodes Diabetes is arguably the ugliest character design in video game history. If you set out to create a bad character design, you almost certainly wouldn't be able to come up with anything as visually offensive as that. Jarel from Sungrand Studios, any thoughts?
This looks like a nightmare.
In September 2024, during the height of the fallout from the Concord debacle, Sacred Symbols podcast host Colin Moriarty posted the following on his X account.
The term apparently verbatim had been used that Concord is the future of PlayStation. That they had such major ambition for this game that it was referred to internally as a Star Wars-like project for Sony. There was, and I think we can kind of get this vibe from just the nature of the people making it and kind of the way the game reads and all that, a toxic positivity vibe. You weren't allowed to say anything, apparently internally, about this game. About how, like, something's wrong with it, character designs are not right.
Concord's culture of toxic positivity and Emperor's New Clothes work environment was created by the incompetent activist lead developers. The most infamous of these devs is Lisa Brown, who insisted that everyone at Firewalk Studio address her as the Professor and demanded that she be credited as Professor Brown in the Concord credits. Brown also demanded that meetings involving her be referred to in emails as teaching/learning with the Professor. Brown also demanded that any members of the staff who did not receive the coronavirus vaccine be fired. Brown did not possess any academic credentials that would justify referring to her as the Professor. The Professor came out as non-binary during the development of Concord, a decision which clearly influenced character design. Several characters were consciously designed to be as androgynous as possible. This androgyny in the character design was most obvious in the Blob with a blue nonce overcoat, toilet cleaning gloves, and snorkeling goggles. The blue nonce was the star attraction of Concord's most suicidal trailer, and the comments on that trailer are so good that I have compiled a few of them for your enjoyment. Karen, iPhone, hit that shit and put out that cigarette.
Dude's heart rate is probably higher than the player count of Concord.
You defeated Rule 34.
His greatest weakness? Stairs.
I really hate that I can imagine the smell of him right now.
Overwatch? No. Overweight? Yes.
It's not enough being a loser in real life, but now I can also play as one in a video game. Thanks, Sony.
Has the ability to survive diabetes until his 30s.
I could go on about the various failures of the Concord character design for hours. Instead, the Despot refers his loyal subjects to Sungrand Studios. Jarel is a game dev and he did a deep dive on the Concord character designs, which is hilarious, despite his best attempts to take the designs seriously.
Why? Why would you do that? I'm worried.
Now, back to Tale of the Unwatchable. Drax 0.5 orders Nurse Lizard to remove the chip from Fever Dream's arm, but it turns out Nurse Lizard is a member of Protectors of the Cosmos.
Ready.
What?
It worked. Hang on, Captain.
Wait, why didn't Drax 0.5 lock the surgery room doors? That seems like an obvious security precaution. Also, how did Nurse Lizard infiltrate the Guild lab? And why don't the Guild have a security team in the lobby to prevent the Protectors of the Cosmos smuggling guns into the building?
They said the children's wing was on this floor?
Why has the Guild rented office space in a commercial high-rise for use as a surgery and interrogation room? If they control all interplanetary travel, they are deifically wealthy. They could buy the entire building, or better yet, build a militarized compound outside the city where potential hazards can be taken for interrogation, torture, and decommissioning. Or they could simply take Fever Dream to one of their many ships and process her there. Escape would be literally impossible. So after somehow rendering 2 guards unconscious, Halle Bailey starts a shootout with Drax 0.5. Then this happens.
Get a team on the street! I want Timex call!
Now, the Despot does not claim to be an expert in military tactics, but I'm fairly sure soldiers are trained not to open fire in narrow hallways when their commanding officers are standing in front of them in their line of fire.
Getaway pilot, better be good!
Wait, say that again?
Getaway pilot, better be good!
Hold on. You are on a vital mission to rescue your captain and her priceless cargo, and you've never even met the fucking getaway pilot. In the next scene, we are introduced to this getaway pilot, White Man. We quickly learn that White Man is a narcissist. How does Tale of the Unwatchable infer this character trait? Well, the writers have White Man stand admiring himself in a mirror, which just happened to be there, while listening to an audio program that tells him how great he is.
You are amazing.
Very subtle. How did the crew run all the way from the office block to the outskirts of town while being pursued by a squad of generic masked bad guys without being shot? Why did the crew even need a getaway pilot? All he does is push a throttle, take off, and fly away. This isn't exactly Drive, where Ryan Gosling has to navigate LA's labyrinthine road network while evading the police. The getaway pilot's job is literally take off and fly away in a straight line. Why could one of the crew not have done this? We next learn that narcissistic White Man is a spineless coward who will throw his crew under the bus without a second's thought.
I'm a hostage. They grabbed me, forced me to fly. At gunpoint?
Is that why you're flying my ship?
How did Fever Dream sneak onto the ship without anyone noticing? How was she able to knock out a guild guard and put on his armor, then catch up to her crew without knowing where the ship was parked?
Maybe get that out of my face.
Maybe tell me who you are and what you're doing on my ship.
This is what I mean when I say the ship captain is a woke Fever Dream. In this scene, a black woman with blue lipstick, hairy armpits, and Rastafarian hair is suited up in male body armor, standing menacingly over a narcissistic, cowardly white man, pointing a gun at him and demanding that he explain what he's doing on her ship.
I'm Julius,
Pilot. Getaway pilot.
You're rescuing the best pilot this side of the Tempest. Why would you need another one?
And just in case you didn't get the subtle inference that Fever Dream is a powerful leader,
she's a powerful leader.
She next squares up to greedy Asian man and threatens him.
You
Yes.
are gonna space me.
Yes.
While certainly low caste, Asian men aren't quite as untouchable as white men, so greedy Asian man is spared the humiliation of being held at gunpoint, but he still needs to be put in his place. Next, Fever Dream heads off to have her crew remove the chip from her arm. So in order to get the chip out of Fever Dream, Drax 0.5 hauled her into a surgery and made sure to tell the surgeon not to kill her during the complex operation because he needed her alive.
See that she survives.
So now we get a look at this highly complex chip removal surgery that requires specialist personnel, equipment, and a surgery lab, and could be potentially deadly.
They were expecting a valuable map.
Wait, hold on. Can we run that back? Karen iPhone, can you time this?
They were expecting a valuable map.
So for an operation that takes literally 3 seconds, Drax 0.5 took Fever Dream to a surgery. Why did he not just have one of his excellently trained infantrymen hand him a shrapnel removal gun from a first aid kit? Or if such a piece of equipment was not at hand, run off and get one? Why in the name of Star Trek's demise did they haul Fever Dream into a surgery to perform an operation that takes 3 seconds? The one good thing I'll say about the chip removal scene is that we do at least get to see some more of Fever Dream's tasty armpit hair. Karen iPhone, zoom in on that shit. Fuck yeah. What? Be good. How did the Protectors of the Cosmos not pick up a giant guild fleet coming after them on radar? Why didn't the guild annihilate them immediately upon contact? So when the guild harpooned the ship, we learn that narcissistic, cowardly white man is also emotionally brittle.
We can't steer the ship.
We're gonna die.
Out of my way. We can figure this out.
It's just a good thing Fever Dream is here to take charge.
Right. Smokes, reroute all power to our other engines. Raid, prep patch kits.
For an indication of just how disgustingly trite the girl boss steps in to take charge when a man loses his shit cliche is, here is the exact same character beat coupled with the exact same dramatic beat in the exact same dramatic scenario in Star Trek Section 31.
Quasi, look at me. You just need to make a call. You know what to do.
Okay.
Okay.
We can't steer the ship.
We're gonna die.
Out of my way. We can figure this out.
The man loses his shit in the pilot's seat, and the calm, in-charge woman has to step in to rescue the situation. While we're on the topic of Star Trek Section 31, I will give the movie praise for its accurate depiction of women in the modern dating market. Karen iPhone?
Women.
I love you. I love you.
Also women. Women when girls just want to have fun. Women when she's ready to settle down now.
We can start over.
Before we move on from Star Trek Section 31...
What did that guy in Star Trek Section 31 say when his girlfriend burned his face off? They always told me it hurts to get burned by a woman, but this is ridiculous.
Yeah, Karen iPhone. Very funny, thanks.
He knew he was punching above his weight, and that she would break up with him eventually. He just wasn't expecting to get burned so badly.
Karen iPhone, that's just the same joke, but worded differently.
When the evil Empress broke up with that guy and burned half his face off, I turned to her said, "What are you thinking? You must be crazy to break up with a guy that hot."
Before we move on from Star Trek Section 31, I would like to inform my viewers that in that movie, the poor bastard who gets half his face burned off by this bitch is the bad guy, and the bitch who does the face burning is the good guy, despite the fact that she murdered her own family, became empress of an evil empire, and went on to commit crimes against sentient life on a cosmic scale. Because when a woman murders her family, burns her love interest's face off, and commits crimes against sentient life on a cosmic scale,
that means that it is not illegal.
Also, Star Trek Section 31 features blue lipstick, because of course it does. Also, Jamie Lee Curtis is here because she was in the worst sci-fi movie of 2024, so why not keep her streak alive? But let us not dwell on such misery, let us instead think back to better times. So while Fever Dream is taking command and sorting the situation out, narcissistic, cowardly, emotionally brittle white man wanders aimlessly around, demonstrating what a pathetic wimp he is.
We're gonna die. We're gonna die.
Halle Bailey's female, so she gets to sound off this episode's absolute banger of a one-liner.
It's blaze of glory time. It's blaze of glory time.
Is anyone else feeling?
Oh look, narcissistic, cowardly, emotionally brittle, pathetic, wimpy white man has betrayed them all. How shocking.
I don't believe it!
So next, Drax 0.5 gives his instructions to narcissistic, cowardly, emotionally brittle, pathetic, wimpy, traitorous white man.
Put her and the chip in a suit and throw her out the airlock.
Wait. So Drax 0.5 has just instructed narcissistic, cowardly, emotionally brittle, pathetic, wimpy, traitorous white man to throw the chip out the airlock. But how would Drax 0.5 know the chip was disposed of? White man could pocket the chip, then tell Drax he threw it out the airlock. Is Drax's species incapable of deception? Is Drax unaware that lying is fairly common practice among humans? Also, why has Drax 0.5 not considered the possibility that white man will simply upload the chip data to the ship server before disposing of the chip? Next, we learn that narcissistic, cowardly, emotionally brittle, pathetic, wimpy, traitorous white man is also greedy.
There is a bounty in this amount.
Everybody's in, right? Rich and alive. Better than poor and dead. Should be right over.
Why does Drax 0.5 hang up? Surely he wants to see what's going on inside the ship in case there's a problem. Next, narcissistic, cowardly, emotionally brittle, pathetic, wimpy, traitorous, greedy white man speaks a line that is the only good part of this wide open sewer of an episode and of the entire Concord debacle.
Really? You're gonna sell your captain?
You want everybody to die for you?
This is so typical of woke media. If there is a good moment, it comes from an attempt to vilify a character the writers want you to hate, usually at the expense of a character you are supposed to root for. In Damsel, the best moment was when Prince de-aged Burn Gorman throws Millie Bobby Brown into the chasm to begin her new life as a dragon snack.
Let her have it!
In The Crow 2024, the best moment was when Sir Plastic Bag, with some assistance from Employee of the Month, renders justice upon the movie's villain, Junkie Layabout. In The Acolyte, the best moment was when Trinity breaks the Lesbian Jesuit's Wi-Fi connection to Master Wookiee, and they all die. In Concord's secret level, narcissistic, cowardly, emotionally brittle, pathetic, wimpy, traitorous, greedy white man says the only intelligent thing in the entire episode.
You want everybody to die for you?
Who in their right mind would be willing to die for this wanker? Fever Dream is an imperious, rude, aggressively and deliberately ugly, in-your-face, insufferable Karen. She's the kind of loud and proud tourist you meet once on a tour bus and are sick to fucking death of after 5 minutes. Then you feel an immense wave of relief when the tour is over and you know you never have to spend another second of your life in the presence of that intolerable human being. The misery of being around her was almost worth it just so you can bathe in the utter catharsis of being rid of her. Fever Dream is that person. Any crew of pirates in the galaxy would toss her hairy ass out the airlock and collect the money the second they saw the bounty come up on screen. Next, narcissistic, cowardly, emotionally brittle, pathetic, wimpy, traitorous, greedy white man is easily tricked by Fever Dream.
Come on.
It's a trap. You really think you can overpower Cassidy Timac and stuff her into a spacesuit all on your own?
And the gullible moron would have fallen for it too if Asian guy hadn't warned him just how incredibly awesome the girl boss he's dealing with is. What an idiot, right guys? This fully grown young adult male seriously thinks he can overpower a small middle-aged woman. So Asian guy tells white man that he wants in on Fever Dream's bounty. So white man, being a gullible moron, believes Asian guy without question and releases him. Setting aside the question of why white man would believe Asian guy so readily, why would white man let Asian guy in on the bounty? He doesn't need his help. If white man feels that he needs to render Fever Dream unconscious, he could simply bash her over the head with the butt of a gun or gas her again. Why would white man split a bounty to gain the redundant assistance of a pirate who could betray him at any moment? So after narcissistic, cowardly, emotionally brittle, pathetic, wimpy, traitorous, greedy, gullible white man unties Asian guy, we are treated to an incredible twist.
Leave that one. I don't want to get sucked out into the void.
Warning.
Decompression.
Oh my god, what an unexpected audience subversion. Truly breathtaking.
I don't believe it!
So Asian guy, whose character introduction is this,
We're gonna be so rich.
who has persistently shown himself to be motivated solely by money throughout the episode, now chooses to risk death out of loyalty to Fever Dream over extreme wealth. His character motivation gets flipped faster than a rent boy during a spit roast at a BDSM birthday orgy.
That was exactly what I needed.
You should see me fuck. I'm the best piece of ass in 3 states.
Asian guy gives up a life of wealth and risks his life to save a prickly braggart who only a few minutes before threatened him and squared up to him in an attempt to emasculate him in front of his own crew.
You are gonna space me.
Yeah, he risked his life and gave up a fortune for her. Maybe the blue lipstick and armpit hair just really does it for him. I can't say the cave woman cadaver look elevates my artillery piece into attack position, but each man to his own, I guess. And let's not be too hard on our boy Asian guy. After all, what man could say no to a nice bit of armpit afro to hold on to? Am I right, boys? Quite honestly, if I had to choose between swallowing a few Viagra pills and going balls deep into Fever Dream's under afro, or getting fucked by the best piece of ass in 3 states, I am going with Bill every day of the week.
I suck dick for money.
Okay, Bill, I didn't ask, but that's great.
$2,000, I'm that good.
Seriously, $2,000. You really think you're worth $2,000 a go?
Yeah, I do.
So Asian guy murders narcissistic, cowardly, emotionally brittle, pathetic, wimpy, traitorous, greedy, gullible white man by blowing him out the airlock. But why was white man not wearing his spacesuit? He was wearing his spacesuit when he gassed everyone. Then he wasn't wearing it when they woke up. Why did he take it off? He would surely have known that he was going to have to open the airlock to let the guild boarding crew in or to throw Fever Dream out, so why did he take off his spacesuit? Also, keeping his suit on gives him the option of gassing everyone again if he needs to, and why is the sleeping gas he used so weak? He gasses everyone, waits for the gas to dissipate, heals the guild chips on comms, and before he can finish his conversation with Drax 0.5, the crew are all wide awake again. The gas couldn't have rendered them unconscious for more than a few minutes. If a sedative gas is strong enough to knock someone out cold in a few seconds and it fills the entire cabin, the crew are going to be out a lot longer than a few minutes. So after disposing of White Man, Fever Dream picks up a gaming lobby mic and announces herself to the space internet.
That file coming across the pirate net is the complete guild trade routes.
Good thing the guild didn't perform the standard protocol of scrambling the protectors of the Cosmos comms signal. Heroic music starts playing and we get a shot of narcissistic, cowardly, emotionally brittle, pathetic, wimpy, traitorous, greedy, gullible, dead white man floating through space. Then the body positive Rasta herd, assertive, armpit hair embracing, blue-lipped, lesbian, powerful black female leader breaks the corporate monopoly of the evil megacorporation and shares the spoils of her rebellion with her communist brothers and sisters and non-binary individuals.
It's open season on the guild. The skies are free.
So this guild ship has been sitting here with its harpoons in the pirate ship for a while now. The guild crew know that at any moment the pirates could upload the maps to the internet, and instead of immediately eradicating the pirate ship, the guild ship decides to just hang around.
What are you doing? What are you doing?
Nothing. Me? Just hanging around.
How is it even possible that the guild maps have never been leaked? It takes Fever Dream only a few seconds to upload the entirety of the guild's map data to the space internet. If leaking the map data was this easy, someone at the guild would have leaked it by now. A disgruntled employee who has just been given an unjustified disciplinary by a ladder-climbing Karen, a security guard bribed by a ship captain for half the cost of a guild fee, an office drone who got sick of sitting at a desk for 50 50 soul-crushing hours a week for $35,000 a year minus taxes, and rightly decided that fuck this, man, downloaded the map onto a USB, sold it to the first buyer he came across for $2 million, then went to Thailand to become a passport bro, buy a bar, and start enjoying life outside the confines of corporate wage slavery and being passed on by every girl in his generation because she's convinced that she deserves nothing less than a 28-year-old heart surgeon who has a side gig as an underwear model on weekends. The guild maps could have been easily leaked by an infiltrator sent into the guild by an enemy organization or government. Information this easy to distribute cannot be kept secret. So Fever Dream escapes by flying the ship into a unicorn's arsehole. Then there are some close-ups to show off the supreme hideousness of Concord's character designs. Fever Dream sheds a tear of joy, and narcissistic, cowardly, emotionally brittle, pathetic, wimpy, traitorous, greedy, gullible, dead white man remains a frozen corpse in space. All is well in the galaxy.
But wait! There's more!
Of course there's more, because the entire Concord project hit the market a decade out of date, so we're basically in the mid-2010s here, which means a post-ending sequel bait clip. The clip shows Star-Lizard from the OG Protectors of the Cosmos talking to the narrator in a bar while the camera zooms in on a keychain plushie that was almost certainly intended as a piece of merch that would make Sony millions. The end. 8 years and $400 million well spent. I have endured the secret level Concord episode twice now, and I have no idea what the unicorn arsehole is or why it's in space. Here's the explanation for why the crew are at the unicorn arsehole.
They set anchor right in front of the Tempest, figuring nobody'd be crazy enough to follow them, even close to the thing.
So in the entire planetary system, this crew of experienced space pirates did not have a single safe house or know of any good hiding spots. They just figured, yeah, let's go to the unicorn arsehole because no one will follow us there. And if the unicorn arsehole is so dangerous that no one would attempt to follow them there, then why did they endanger their lives by going there when they weren't being pursued? Surely the pirates' only priority at this stage would be to offload their USB data onto the nearest buyer. This is not complicated. Go to a nearby big city, disappear into the mass of humanity, and find a buyer. That's it. Instead, the crew decide to take their ship to the unicorn arse end of nowhere, where they cannot sell the maps or reliably contact potential buyers without the threat of their comms signal being detected. Parking their ship at the unicorn arsehole is the polar opposite of what they should be doing. In 15 minutes, Tale of the Unwatchable displays everything wrong with a game that took Firewalk Studios 8 years to develop, a derivative and now massively cliched Guardians of the Galaxy character format, an even more cliched and now thoroughly tiresome girl boss lead, shockingly bad character designs, a broken premise torn to shreds by plot holes, in-your-face, body-positive, feminist, intersectional, anti-white, anti-male propaganda. The character's social status, position, value as a human being, and general competence is determined entirely by their position within the intersectional caste system. If they are high caste, for example, a black body-positive lesbian, then the character has high social status, is highly valued by those around her, and is highly competent. If the character is low caste, for example, a straight white man, then he has many detestable traits, is broadly despised, and generally incompetent. I almost never use the word woke as an adjective to describe a piece of media anymore. I like to be as specific as possible in my criticism, and woke can refer to any one of a collective of extreme far left political ideologies. Yes, I admit this is quite ironic given that my most popular video series by far is the Worst of Woke Awards. And there's no question that woke is an overused term, but sometimes calling something woke is absolutely justified. Tale of the Unwatchable is woke. It is woke garbage. Concord was woke garbage. Viewers who like their black women hairy and their white men dead will get a brief, mild kick out of Secret Level's Concord episode, and that's it. There is nothing here but seal clapter bait. It's slop for the modern audience. You know the one I'm talking about. The modern audience that made Concord such a successful smash hit. The modern audience that has turned Disney Star Wars into the world's most popular franchise. The modern audience that acclaimed The Crow 2024. The modern audience that is in the room with us right now. The modern audience that only Hollywood executives and the kid from The Sixth Sense can see. That modern audience. Concord was a $400 million woke activist sandbox filled with one-dimensional characters occupying a broken world full of plot holes. To emphasize just how broken Tale of the Unwatchable is and how dreadful the writing for Concord was, I'm going to do a plot hole to runtime calculation. In 15 minutes of runtime, I counted 29 plot holes. That's one plot hole for every 31 seconds of runtime, and I am sure there are other plot holes that I missed. To end this video, I will make a brief comparison of the Wikipedia page entries for one of my favorite video games of all time and Concord. The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time is a 1998 action-adventure game by Nintendo for the Nintendo 64. Concord was a multiplayer first-person hero shooter game developed by Firewalk Studios and published by Sony Interactive Entertainment. It was released for PlayStation 5 and Windows on August 23rd, 2024. Last year, I did my first playthrough of Ocarina of Time in a decade, and I had a great time. I discovered little secrets that were new to me even after many playthroughs as a kid, and I developed a new appreciation for the game's psychological depth, world building, level design, and storytelling genius. I did not play Concord, and never will, and neither will anyone else.
So today I want to take a look at the character designs for the award-winning smash hit Concord. But this is quite flat tonally. It is a weak design. It felt impossible to try to salvage these designs. This is so dull and flat. It's extremely weak, and I'll explain why, but a total visual mess. There's absolutely no visual value. This is flat. This is a nightmare design. Visual dissonance. There's absolutely zero visual cohesion here. This is so hodgepodge. This is a nightmare now that I'm looking at it again, because you have, this design is a nightmare. It's a nightmare. So wrong, it's all one flat tone. So ill-considered. I do not want to see people fail this badly. The nightmare, this is chaos, it's visual chaos. So this is a nightmare. That is such a nightmare. I don't even want to talk about this one. There is zero cohesion anywhere on this character. This is so dull. It's so hard to look at. This is... What is that? This is just a nightmare. This is so ugly. What is it that I'm looking at? This looks like a nightmare. This is so sad, so wrong. It is a nightmare. Why? Why would you do that? I'm worried about having to seeing this work here. There's no visual information. This is flat. There's no detail. This is a nightmare. This is a visual nightmare. Having to look at this. This is such a nightmare. This is a nightmare. But this is a nightmare, and I'm not joking. Zero visual information. This is the wrong color. It's a visual nightmare. This is basically unsalvageable. This is a visual nightmare. This is unsalvageable. This can't be helped. I can't even fathom. This is a visual nightmare. This is a disaster. This is a war zone. This does not work. Never at any point. There are zero visual elements which have cohesion with any other part of the design. Why does she have a light teal on cream on orange? This kind of broke me. This is a fundamental catastrophic failure of an understanding of visual expression and art. This is...
The studio that developed Concord, Firewalk Studios, no longer exists. The professor is currently unemployed.